What up? What up? What up, guys? Welcome to Nomad Live pregame. My man Kids, man Chris is in the background. Samo has some family issues he's working through right now, so hopefully everything is all right with Mr. Samo, man. So whatever's going on, prayers and good vibes to you, Samo. Hopefully we can get him back by post game, but we'll see. But hey, Kids, man, it's it's a
Yes,
it's a
sir.
it's a really depressed time. I feel like for the Bears. I think for the fan base for the most part. I don't quite feel so depressed. It's reasons for that, man. I'm just that kind of guy anyway. But um, I think because of it was a hell of a week and all the things that went down. It's the questions surrounding Justin, Luke Getzey, the Alan Williams situation, all that kind of stuff, man, starts to add up, and people start feeling a certain way about the Bears. But we're gonna get into some football in a second. But kids, how you feeling about the overall viewpoint of the Bears, man?
I couldn't echo your sentiments any further, right? It is an interesting time to be a Bears fan, as always. This is a fan base that has seen some level of traumatization, and here we are again. We were really hoping that this season would start out looking completely different, and we would be on a high, but that's not where we are. Where we are right now is in the midst of a rebuild. That's really what we're in, smack dab in the middle of it. And hopefully tonight is, hopefully this game here today is representative of that rebuild and the progress thereof.
My man Samo usually get the shout out, so let me get a shout out for him, man. My man Cornelius Squalls in the chat, King Buka World. Uh, where goes one? I think I saw maybe one or two more people up top. If I forget your name, I'm sorry. But look, man, let's get this business about Alan Williams on, and let's get to that. Chris, do you have a quick video for us?
Actually happened. I'm told it was not criminal activity, but it was inappropriate, and the Bears HR department was involved in the decision for Alan Williams to step aside, and that means that Matt Eberflus, the head coach, is going to take over the defensive play calling duties today in Kansas City against the Chiefs. He'll go back to what got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to get this behind us, man. I know it's a lot of fans speculating about it on Twitter and on other platforms. It's just it's basically I think we need to move on as a fan base. Whatever happens, according to some of my contacts, it might be more to come out in regards to it, but at no point or another will it have anything to do with this team moving forward. It's just conduct around Alan Williams and what he did or didn't do. The HR department got involved apparently, and whatever it is, I think we need to get past it as a fan base. Now we have Flus calling the defense, like what I saw last week. Um, let's talk about what you saw last week versus what we are used to seeing with Alan Williams. I do like the fact, and Nick Moriano, I got to give him a shout out, man. He put a nice article out. It's not a big article, but it's a nice article on CHGO Sports where he talked to a few players in the locker room, and there was a through line in all of the conversations he had with all these guys, and it was aggression. How aggressive Matt Eberflus is, he wants them to be aggressive, and so I think that's going to be indicative. It was last week of the play calling style, and I think so this week. However, I will say this with a caveat: with a quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes, one thing I think, as my defensive mind tells me not to do when you're playing against somebody like Patrick Mahomes, is to show him your blitz. You have to disguise your blitz in whatever ways you can, because if he can detect it before the snap, pre-snap detection of a blitz, he can hurt you. So whatever they do aggressively, hopefully he keeps that in mind as he's attacking Patrick Mahomes. Definitely bring some pressure and get after him and make him move around. But you most definitely pre-snap, you don't want to show him exactly what your blitz is going to look like. You want to show it and then be able to fall back into coverage and maybe interrupt something across the middle. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and being aggressive towards him.
I don't. I'm worried about their ability to be aggressive with him in for all intents and purposes. I'm gonna you know I want to circumnavigate this conversation completely. Like I'll be completely frank here. I don't know if our defensive line has the ability to really pressure him. We haven't seen a heck of a lot of that over the course of the last couple of weeks. I'm by way of Eberflus's coaching, week 1 to week 2, and defensive play calling. Yeah, there was a heck of a lot more aggression there. There was also a lot more swarming on the ball, a lot more hits. Hits was much more evident last week. And I expect it to be much more evident today as well. But again, actually, defensive line, defensive end pressure. My hope is that Yannick Ngakoue has some special stuff for them this week and can actually get Patrick on the ground. Whereas he had a heck of a time doing it with Baker Mayfield last week.
Yeah. There's one. I have this concept in my head on how to stop the Chiefs and how to actually narrow down the different ways that you can attack that Patrick Mahomes can attack your defense. And I think it's bracket coverage on Travis Kelce. I think you got to take the head off the snake, and he's the head of the snake when it comes to their offense. Man, everything kind of derives in and around Travis Kelce. I think bracket coverage meaning over and under coverage of him, and so I think that's the way to go with Travis Kelce. But also at the same time, you do that one too many times, Patrick Mahomes is going to notice the holes in other parts of the defense, and he'll attack. So that's just my way of thinking when it comes to dealing with Patrick Mahomes.
That makes a lot of sense. And at the end of the day, you're then looking at the other wide receivers contributing for Patrick Mahomes, and this is truly our path to success here. I'm glad you mapped it out, because that's what you have to do. You have to have, and my thoughts is Tremaine Edmonds. You have Tremaine Edmonds on that guy all day long, and you also have a heck of you kind of dedicate a nickel to pay a little bit more attention to Travis as well. That's my thoughts there. If you can do that, then you're left with Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, which doesn't scare me. Patrick Mahomes might, but those two guys don't. That's especially with our secondary. Like our secondary could have a game today, and if they come out to play in the right way, that back seven, right? If that back seven come to play today, it could be an interesting football game.
Yeah, that's if, man. I think today overall, I think it's the truth is, man, everybody's focused on Justin, and they should be. He had a whole lot to say about, what happened, what's making him play like he's playing. So a lot of focus is going to be on what's he going to look like. Are they going to loosen the restrictions on him? Can he just play and just be free out there and just go out there and be a football player and have fun out there? I think that's when you'll see the best of Justin Fields. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But this is going to be to me, more about Eberflus being able to sew this thing and keep this thing together. Like there's as a matter of fact, Chris, if you don't mind pulling up that Courtney Cronin piece, she kind of alluded to, what the thoughts and feelings are going into this game about what Matt Eberflus had to say about this whole thing.
Bears coach Matt Eberflus had not heard Justin Fields' comments about coaching when he spoke minutes after the quarterback on Wednesday. It wasn't until later that Eberflus learned Fields pointed to overthinking as a reason behind his early season struggles and the QB's desire to execute coaching points perfectly that caused him to play robotic.
So the first part of that video you didn't hear, but she kind of, what we got to hear is basically the crux of the story is, Eberflus hadn't heard what Justin had to say for whatever reason, probably doing something else during that press conference, probably came to light afterwards. I guess the PR people say, hey, Justin made a comment or this, that, and the third, and he just got with him and got with the offensive coordinator. And, I think we made more of a deal out of it than anybody, out here being, fans, and what you could make of what he said. To me, he never said anything to indict his coaches. I think what he said was probably exactly the truth. He felt he's feeling mechanical. And they asked him why he's feeling so robotic. He was like, part of it is coaching. And it's true. And he didn't indict him or throw him under the bus. What he did was try to give the media and us as fans a little bit of verbal explanation as to what he's thinking, his way of thinking out there, and what's causing him to play with all these hiccups and not being clean and fluid. And I think he basically he said exactly what I've been saying for the first 2 weeks. That's exactly right. Get and somewhere down the line, kids, I heard someone say, that the players, this guy's continuing to talk to him after he's called the play, telling them what to look out for. Or don't go over here. This should be open over there. If that's the case, man, you don't want that, man. Once you give him the play, let him decipher the rest of it. You trusted him in going up, getting ready for the game. You trusted him to be ready, and you trusted him to be able to make good pre-snap reads. You just got to let him go and let him play the way he knows how to play. If it doesn't come off the way that you intended for the play to come off, that's okay. As long as it's a positive play, it doesn't matter. Get to the next one and just leave the guy alone, let him play.
Honestly, I think Justin said the right, he said the right term. He coined the correct term, and that's F it. F it, y'all. He needs to go into this game and just say, forget about it. Hey, if I throw a bunch of picks, it doesn't make any difference at this point. If you know what I mean, if this game goes the other direction, it makes absolutely no difference. Let me just go out there and ball. Let me be me. Let me do what I do, whatever that fully looks like. And that's that was the question. You brought up Nicholas Moriano earlier on. That was the question Nick asked in that press conference. What does Justin Fields playing free really look like? And he said, you'll see. We're gonna see today. And I have all the faith in the world that Justin Fields playing free looks a lot more like Patrick Mahomes than it does like Justin Fields has looked the last couple of weeks. So let's see what that looks like today, Nomad.
I'm confident in what he can do. It's just about the coaching right now. It's just about, for me, I just want to see
too much in his head, right? Like there's too much in his head.
It's just it's a lot going on, man. I keep telling people over and over again, all this pocket quarterback stuff that everybody's talking about. You're not seeing quarterbacks go out there and have monster games and throwing for 400 yards. They don't have time to be doing all that kind of stuff. Nobody really, there's only a couple lines in the NFL right now that really can block up long enough for a guy to go through 3 and 4 reads. And to me right now, the one team that sticks out is Detroit. They have a pretty good damn front five. And so most teams don't have it that good. I think you get through 1,000, 2,000, 1,001, 1,002. By the time you get to 1,000, 2003, dude, that ball better be gone towards somebody in the dirt, or you better have that thing in your arm running for your life, man. I'm telling you, these defenses are too fast. I just know this. The traditional way that people think about quarterback play, I think it's just taking us as fans, it's taking coaches, it's taking organizations a while to catch up with the fact that you really can't play traditional quarterback in the NFL. And you got to think about it in a completely different way, man. These defenses are too good. They're too big, too fast, too strong. And it's evident. You seeing terrible quarterback play. I'm looking at the TV right now, looking at the Saints and Packers game. Man, it's bad. It's real bad. And it's not because these are terrible quarterbacks all the time. It's because of the defenses. And so as Luke Getsy and Justin Fields and the coaching staff start adjusting to, okay, this is what we can do. We can we have probably the most unique quarterback in the league physically. You know what I mean? And that's the one advantage that we do have. The fact that he can do different things, whether it be through the air and on the ground, and you taking advantage of that, using it as a weapon, is what you hadn't seen for the last 2 weeks. Why you wouldn't do that is beyond me, man. I think the guy needs to be under center, bootlegging out and threatening that defense and really making them run and tiring them out. That's what I think needs to happen. So that's what I look forward to seeing in an early shot down the field. Give him a chance to quirk one and get him into the game.
I'm gonna go back to effort, and I think you hit the nail on the head with what with your description. I think maybe we just start this game running the ball. Start running the ball with everybody available. Bulk up, run the ball, make them stop you. Once they are now 8 to 10 men in the box, then you start to do the other thing. Then now you've got them. Now you got them worried about your legs running that ball. I think that's one way to handle the Chiefs and also keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes. To be honest with you, keep him off the field. That's one way of looking at it. I think that might be a viable route of passage. And the funniest thing for me today was just watching in highlights. I'm just watching Red Zone, and there's screenplays all over the place, and everybody's in everybody's playbook. It ain't just the Bears, y'all. So hopefully we get some screens off that actually work and involve our playmakers today too. But
hey kids, let me tell you why that is. Let me tell you why that is. It's just coaches looking at film and looking at basically patterns in defense. Defenses are hyper aggressive in getting after the quarterback, providing pressure, and they're trying to do things and they're calling plays to try to combat that. And that's the answer to it: is run screen plays and to fight the aggression. So I get it. I understand it. That's definitely the kind of thing you want to do against a really aggressive defense, is to call screen plays and things like that to combat it. But when you so heavily running those types of plays, all it does is make the defense constrict and get tighter and tighter, and then come down further and further on you. And so you have to threaten them over the top with a long shot. So that's basically what it is, man. It's pretty common.
Yeah, no, I'm no knock to the screenplay at all. My real knock was you can't call it 14 times in 2 weeks. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't call it back to back and expect them not to think that you might be doing the same thing all over again. The thing you can call back to back, for the most part, is running the ball. And I have confidence in. I wonder, the one question I have for today's game realistically is, will we see Donta Foreman today? I wonder what we'll see out of him.
No, we will not.
Not at all.
No, well, let me give you. I forgot you guys. We do have inactives list.
We do have
an active player. We got Nate Davis will play today. Inactives are Tyson Bagent, EQ St. Brown, Eddie Jackson, AJ Thomas, Deontay Foreman, and recently signed to the active roster. I don't know what Daniel Hardy, defensive end, they picked up off of a practice squad in LA. So that Deontay Foreman, let me just say this before you get started, kids. There must be something to this story. There must be something going on behind the scenes. Some words were exchanged. Some feelings came out about why you brought me here to play. I don't know what's going on. I don't really want to speculate, but something is going on when he's a healthy scratch for 2 weeks in a row, and we know what he can bring to the table physically. There's something else going on that we aren't hearing about. I'm just going to assume.
Your assumption is likely bang on. I'm going to assume a little bit more and speculate a little bit more, right? It's very likely that he has an issue that he's being passed over for that north-south role in this offense. That's really what Roschon's been taking on and excelling at. Not to say that Donta hasn't been playing well either. I think he has been. But there's just something about Roschon. Roschon is bringing a little bit more juice and pop to what he does. And being that young back that they just drafted, they're going to put a little bit more focus into him. Does that mean that Donta should be out of that starting role? I'm not sure. But again, we're going to see how Roschon how he performs today. I think he'll have a heck of a game without really having to worry about somebody behind him or in front of him. The other guy clearly in front of him is obviously Khalil Herbert, but north-south, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on Khalil. I say east-west Khalil, go around that outside zone. You're a beast out there. Get him involved via that means. But other than that, I think you're right. I think he probably turned around and said, "What the heck? I thought this was my job. I won this job. Why is the rookie playing?"
Well, I want to keep talking about this. I'll just say this about that conversation. As a fan, I really wanted to see Deontay Foreman play for us. I really thought I know what he can bring to the table as a back. I know what he can do, but whatever's going on that's causing it's probably causing some friction. And whatever it is, man, I hate it as a fan because I was really looking forward to seeing him this year. Whatever it is, I hope they get it straightened out. They can get on the same page and we get a chance to see that guy. But I think he's a weapon that we are not being privileged to get to see. But let's get past that for now because I do have a lot to say about that. King Booker World has a question. Why is EQ inactive? With the playbook, he unfortunately is essential to the offense. I think I could tell you a definitive answer to that. It's because Chase Claypool blocked so well last week when he was asked. I saw several really good blocks. He flopped around a little bit on a time or two, but the effort is there. He's a more dynamic player, and if you put EQ in the game, that means, and this leads me to my next conversation. You put EQ in the game, then you sit in Tyler Scott or Velus Jones, which I think they have been mismanaged, and I mean in a big way. The fact that we haven't seen highlights for EQ, not EQ, but Tyler Scott and Velus Jones by this point in the season is horrendous to me. It's a malpractice of coaching. I think Luke Getsy either isn't creative enough to be able to get these guys the ball and create plays and open space for these guys, or I don't know what's going on, but there's no reason at all these two guys. These are the two most explosive players you have. Two most explosive players you have on the team that can really threaten the defense down the field, and you haven't given them one opportunity to do that yet. Is why I'm salty with Getsy. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm really salty with Getsy, but I'm forgiving and I'm open in hopes that this guy can change, he can adjust, and he can do different things than he's done in the first couple of weeks. So before I completely break a limb off on him, I'm just gonna fall back and see what he does this week.
Yeah, I felt the same way until I watched the two Tim Jennings episodes, man. The two Tim Jennings, shout out Tim Jennings. You're doing great work, man. I have to throw it up to you. Your QB sessions with Justin Fields, really analyzing him have been interesting to watch. And again, you were able to point out, and it's not just you. There's a couple other very similar videos out there. I can't put it all on Getsy. There's portions of this where he has schemed these guys open, and it's almost as if Justin is.
You've seen neither of those two guys get schemed open yet. I haven't seen it.
Oh, not those two. Like specifically, not Tyler, not Velus. I haven't really seen any creative use of them. The closest thing to that would have been that one jet sweep to the short side with Velus Jones that went absolutely nowhere. I think you can definitely be a heck of a lot more creative with both of those guys. Let's draw that defense in, get them worried about the run, and start to get Tyler Scott involved. Like that's what I'd like to see this week, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm starting to think he doesn't have the creativity to get those guys open. I don't know. There's no reason in the world why, even if you have to line Velus Jones back up as a backfield, grab him out of the slot, motion him to the backfield, and run a run with him. Do something, but he's like those two guys are the most explosive players that you have. Why don't you put the ball in their hands? Find ways to do it. It's not that difficult, man. You motion guys away from the slot, put them in the backfield. It's ways to do it, man. And that's the frustrating part to me. Like, you got this guy on, quit mismanaging. Use him for what he's worth. Put the ball in their hands. I don't care how you do it. Put it in their damn hands and let them make plays. That's really frustrating, man. And watching this team on offense, knowing the kind of weapons that we do have and how they're being used, is just, again, I'm a not go all the way off. I'm gonna see what he does this week. Hopefully, man, we get some good results, because I do believe that this is a trap game for Kansas City. This is one of those games where nobody on the planet thinks you have a chance at all. Matter of fact, everybody on the planet thinks you're about to get ran out of the building by first half. Be honest with you, I did not pick these guys in preseason to get this game, but things have changed now. I think there's a little bit of desperation going on, and I know what happens when desperate football teams play like they're desperate. There's 60 minutes to play, and you got to line them up. And if you want to win, you ain't getting it easy against this team. And I just know that. And so I'm telling you, I just have a strong feeling about Flus being able to keep this game within reach with this defense, man, and keep this game where it's winnable. And so I do feel good about it. I'm not saying that we're going to get a win, but I feel good about when a team has its back against the wall, what it can do in 60 minutes. Kids. You muted, kids.
Hey, man.
You muted again.
Sorry about that. Bear with me.
I can hear you. You all right?
I'm okay. There we go. Okay, sorry about that, man. Just having a little bit of technical difficulties. Everything's cool. Yeah.
Somebody had a quick question for us. Bear Truth 9. Quick question, fellas. Do you think the Bears have reached out to Greg Roman or another offensive guy to bring in as to oversee it? No, I think they probably, as a staff, I think they probably could be thinking like, I don't know that you would under this circumstances, I don't know that an outside person could really, in order for you to bring them in right now, I think that wouldn't be very good. I think the best move to make is keep everything in house. If Getsy, for whatever reason, isn't what you thought he could be, and he's not generating what you thought he can generate with Justin and his offense, I think you turn to Janoko. I think that's the easiest call to make right there. He kind of knows, well, he does know the offense. The important thing, he has this relationship with Justin Fields. And like I told you on the last show, I think the first thing you would want to do is ask Justin, what are you comfortable with running? Let's get some plays that you want to run, and let's start mixing this thing up to help favor you. So I think that would be the natural thing to do if they decide to move on Getsy.
Ain't nobody moving on Getsy. These guys got a year. Like, that's just buy in, guys. They have a year. They had a full year last year. Things didn't go their way. It is what it was. And this year will be what it is, right? So they're going to run this thing down the line, regardless as to how we all may feel about Getsy's play calling. I don't think Greg Roman's being looked at least definitely not at this juncture. This is the type of stuff that Ryan Poles is talking about when he's saying, nobody in the building is panicking. Like, that's a panic move. When you start shaking up positions and situations that don't necessarily need to be shaken up early, I wouldn't expect to see any movement there. I do expect to see something on the defensive coordinator side, right? Like, that side of the ball, considering Alan Williams is bye-bye. Yeah, somebody's got to fill that role. But I wouldn't see them, especially given that situation coming up now, I wouldn't see them rocking that boat, because just from a political perspective, that all falls on Flus's head, right? That's Flus. These are his guys. He brought them in, and he has to look decent at the end of the season if he wants to keep his job. And if he loses his job, that also means very likely the rest of his staff is gone too. So nothing is happening. Nothing is happening now.
I agree with that on offense, but on defense, I definitely disagree with that. I don't think.
What do you mean? You think Flus is going to hold on to it?
Oh yeah, man, that's his bag, man. That's his bag. That's what he likes to do, anyways. He was attempting to give the controls to his friend and let his friend develop. He basically gave him an opportunity. Hey, man, this is your shot, man. You turn yourself into a great defensive coordinator. You're gonna get a shot at that. It ended up being a mistake on Flus's end, and he's not gonna let that happen again. So he's gonna control his own fate. I think no matter what, unless he finds a guy that could in the offseason that can operate aggressively like he wants to operate, I think Flus holds on to that by a long shot, especially if we go out here in these next few games and that defense turns up a notch. It's going to be like, you ain't giving up control of the defense. You need to call this, man, and get you a better offensive coordinator. But no, I don't see that by any means. I know what Flus can do when he calls defenses. I think we all are about to be a little bit surprised what he can do.
Yeah, and me speculating that is strictly based and rooted on the fact that Alan Williams resigned this week, right? Like that's the only reason I'm even suggesting that. Outside of that, given the fact that Flus has taken on the reins for 1 week, things looked a heck of a lot more urgent. And we all have to admit and say that it wasn't a great game, but it was a hell of a lot. It was a much better game than the previous game. The first game, we just didn't see any level of effort from either side of the ball. Much more effort in this game. This game passed, so I have to give that up to Flus. Him in that DC position, he can scheme things up a little bit differently and more aggressively, much like you were mentioning earlier on. So, if he wants to hold on to the reins, again, it's his, it falls on his shoulders regardless as to which decision he decides.
Good grief, man. I'm seeing Taurine Whitfield just posted Miami 70, the Broncos 20. Ooh. Oh my goodness,
Tank
man.
2 worked.
Oh, good grief, man.
Playing Madden out there.
Man.
The kid had 100% passer rating at halftime.
Wait a minute. I'm getting okay, Hairbear. You saying Nate Davis is active as a backup today. I need to know where that came from, my bro. And so basically he's dressed, and I think Hairbear said, and just in case something happens to Tyree Carter, he'll just be the backup. I don't know. But yeah. But yeah, man, Flus has got that, man. Here's the thing about this game that's gonna look different. Number one, we're gonna have what's his name? Josh Blackwell as probably the starting nickel, if he's healthy. If we don't, it's gonna be Greg Stroman. I think Jaquan Brisker is gonna move into Eddie's role. And I forget the other guy's name we just brought in from LA, off of LA's practice squad. I think he's gonna be the starting strong safety. And so here's the question. With those two safeties playing the roles that they're going to play, not having Eddie in there in his normal spot, not having Jaquan in there in his normal spot, how much aggression do you really dial up, knowing that these two guys, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's new to him. I think Jaquan has been taking snaps at free safety all camp. I actually saw Flus on a hot mic saying that he likes the fact that he can move him around in different spots. So I know he's
position.
I mean, I just want to see what happens, man. I want to know if that's done anything to Flus's psyche and his idea of how he wants to be aggressive, having those three guys out there versus what he normally would have as starters. Does that change anything at all?
Well, you also have to recognize that Kyler Gordon ain't out there either, right? That's the other piece to this puzzle that's missing. I like the other two nickels, I do, but I like Kyler more, and I think their ability to dial stuff up with that stability with both Kyler and Eddie in the back, would allow him to be a heck of a lot more flexible. I'm not sure if he can afford to be, extremely aggressive against Patrick Mahomes with those two injuries in place with the secondary. But we'll see. I think I don't know, man. I really want to see. I want to see a big game. The name I want to hear today is Edmonds. That's the name I want to hear today. I want to hear Edmonds doing some magical stuff to get back at Travis Kelce. Now, I guess I have to remind us all. He had a bit of a poor game against Travis Kelce in Buffalo the last time around. Let's hope that's not the case today.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, but Hair Bear did confirm. He said that Patrick Finley reported that Nate Davis will be the backup to Tyree Carter. And wow, I don't know why that is, other than Nate Davis is probably in a situation where, you know what, coach, I want to be out there for you guys. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm still grieving a lot, but I got a job to do, and I definitely want to suit up and make sure I'm there for the guy. It could be something that simple where he's still grieving. I know it's a lot of black-hearted people out there. It's like, hey man, grief's over. Go do your damn job. I don't think like that, man. I think everybody grieves in different ways. You know what I mean? Like I speak for myself, man. I take death particularly hard, and it's hard. I can't even go to funerals, man. It's that bad for me. So I can identify with somebody like Nate Davis. I don't know what's going on. I'm just assuming, but if that's the case, hats off to Flus and the coaching staff for being understanding. We got a solid backup. Jatari played super last week, man. I like what he's brought to the table. So just let that be. Let that man, he's in uniform, and if he has to play, I'm sure he will. But Jatari is probably the future at guard for us anyway. So, leave well enough alone. Let Nate Davis play a supporting role. I think that's what happens.
I just think that whole story is really unfortunate. Like from beginning to end, we went out, we grabbed grabbed a guy that not everybody was looking at. Let's be frank about it. And I think just about any of the guys in the chat, including myself, would have jumped on and said, "Hey, Nate Davis, haven't heard a heck of a lot about him. Let me take a look at some tape. Wow, this kid's really good. Like Nate Davis is a monster out there." And then this is the story that we get, right? It's unfortunate that that he's been dealing with the situation that he's been dealing with over the course of the last few months. I don't think that situation has boded very well for his ability to get physical and ready for the season. And that's probably really what we're looking at more so now than even just grief. I don't see, like, I've had a lot of folks pass, even very recently, and I don't handle death the best. Let me rephrase. I didn't handle death the best. I think I'm starting to be able to handle it a fair amount better now. And to get on a football field and at least maybe exact some aggression, get some physicality, that might be therapeutic as well. And I just want to flip it the other way a little bit. All in all, to say, shout outs to Nate Davis and the family situation. It's unfortunate. Rest in peace to your family member. And I really wish that you were able to get on the field and support the team that you signed up with.
True that, man. Let's talk about the offensive line a little bit, because we do have a couple of different starters in there. Just Tyree Carter one, and sounds like Larry Bourne is going to be the starter at LT at left tackle. So I'm going to say this, and in the preseason, I was very, very impressed with the way not Jatari Carter, but Larry Bourne. Just number one, the way he came back, his body was so different. He was quicker at the foot, and I think the foot quickness was the key for Larry Bourne. Technically, I don't think he had much of a problem to begin with. I think the foot quickness, I think the fact that he shed some weight, shed some fat, and gained some muscle probably helped him. I'm pretty sure it did, because that didn't look like the Larry Bourne I have been seeing in Chicago, for the past few years. Man, that looked like a different guy that was out there, and I don't know whether it was he felt desperate for, and Larry Bourne thinks a lot of himself. His mom, he does, and he should. He felt like he should have been getting left tackle consideration in the first place. Now he finally puts himself in a position, worked himself in a position to where now he's at a role of starting left tackle snaps, and he's probably in the best shape of his career. And so I'm not going to say I expect him to play like a Pro Bowler, but I do expect Larry Bourne to hold up well, man, because he did look good in the preseason. Sorry about your mom, by the way, Taurine, man.
Okay, fine. Yeah, Taurine, shout out to you, your mom's King Booker World as well. Yeah, my mom's passed when I think I was 23. It's been a minute. You know what I mean? It's been a minute. But to move away from that and back on to Larry Bourne, I was as well impressed by his performance. And I think he may have been caught in just sort of the regime change case scenario, because when he came into Chicago initially, they wanted a much larger, bulkier, sturdier left tackle. That's really the coaching that he was receiving from Juan. At the end of the day, regimes have changed. He's now in a new regime, and they come in, they take a look at the guys who are on the roster, and they look at Larry and they're like, Larry, you're too big. You're not athletic enough. You're not our fit for this particular role. They go and they draft another kid. Kid plays, he gets a starting role, has been playing, on the offseason, Larry's able to actually change his body back to the type that this team actually looks for. Let's see how he plays today. Of all things with Braxton with that situation going the way that it is, and giving Larry the opportunity once more to start today. I'm not extremely worried about that position today. I think he's going to play very well. I think he has the experience playing at the position required to really to really give it a good go today. Let's see how he does.
You know what? You want me to give you a prognosis, or I'm gonna look down the line a little bit. I think there's at least a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, that he
if
becomes
Larry,
starting LT, bro. I'm with you.
Hey, there's a 50-50 chance that, hey, if he plays the way he played in preseason consistently, it's a good chance Braxton Jones never comes back as a starter, because he's got the talent and the pedigree to play, to be a solid left tackle. Now, if he comes in there and he starts shining and he's doing what we think he could do, Braxton Jones gonna have his hands full trying to get back that starting job, man. And you know, good vibes to Braxton Jones, man. Make sure I say that, some good vibes to him, because the reports are, the neck injury. I haven't heard anything like horrible yet, but it's a neck injury, and there's word around Hallis Hall that they don't know whether or not it's going to be a season ender. Because if it's a season ender, that might be trouble, because anytime you're dealing with neck and vertebrae issues and things like that, you better take that stuff serious, man, because that'll cost you your career. So right now, Braxton Jones ain't got no business worrying about no football right now. He needs to be talking to specialists, making sure that they are making the right moves and the right calls in regards to how to respond to whatever neck injury he's dealing with. So Braxton Jones you can worry about that stuff later, man, if and when you get back on that field. But take care of your health, take care of your body, man.
Yeah, get healthy, Braxton. Get healthy, man. Meantime, Larry Borum, you've got an opportunity in front of you, brother. Grab that brass ring, grab that championship belt, and run with it, man. That's my 2 cents for you today. And to be honest with you, I think he's going to be a bright spot in the game today. I truly have to say that. I think he will be a bright spot in the game.
Yeah, we'll see,
There's
man.
some positivity. Hey, Bears fans.
Well, we're gonna let me wrap this up with this, man. I just want to say this to the fans. I know it's a really depressing time. I know how easy it is to you can go to the wayside. You can follow that negativity train and that pessimistic train, because you go on any social media site, that's where it is. That's where most people are. And when you start down that road of there's no chance, there's ain't no use in even trying to look forward, then you have to send good vibes. You have to, if you're going to be a football person and prognosticate on football, at least listen to somebody. If you're not going to do it, at least listen to somebody who has to do it. This is what I have to do. And I'm telling you, there's a reason why, all of these teams are starting off with rocky starts. I don't think they get enough time in the preseason right now, and enough practices, physical practices. They just need to make training camp a little bit longer. They need to extend the physical aspect of it a little bit more. And if that requires teams to, have to carry more players, then so be it. But they need those kinds of reps, man, in order to get ready for a regular season. So I think most of what we're seeing right now is due to the fact that this is basically an extended preseason, these first couple of games, 2 or 3 games. So what we saw from week 1 was not good at all. Week 2 was a whole lot better. And what you could expect this week, if patterns are what they are, you should expect a whole lot better looking Chicago Bears team. Does that translate to a win? Who knows, man? But I'm not going to just sit here and tell you we have no shot to win this game. I'm not going to say that, because I don't believe it. And so
it translates to a win. 22-21 Bears. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to Chris, man. Shout out. Make sure you guys
shout
out. Give Chris happy birthday in the chat, man. Make sure you do that before you get out of here, man. Our super producer is always there for us, man. So
he also picked Bears in a trap game situation. So yes. I think that's absolute madness. I'm all for it. Bear it down, y'all. Let's go.
Hey, man, listen, I'm gonna tell you guys this one time, man. You got to play 60 minutes. You got to play 60 minutes of the football. They got to beat you. You know, so if you don't just lay down and let them walk all over you, you're going to give yourself a chance to win this game. Don't be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to be a win, but don't be surprised when we on here post game like we just beat the Super Bowl champions. But I'll say that last, man, before I get out of here, kid. You got one more thing to say?
A couple more things. Remember, Matt Nagy's over there. So, hey, they got 2 wide receivers who ain't catching anything as of late. They got a tight end who is, heaven sent, apparently. If we can key in on a tight end, we'll just leave it up to Nagy.
Hey.
Let's see what happens, y'all. It's going to be a good game. Let's see.
Guys, have positive energy, have high hopes, and hey, let's get a win, man. Let's get a win so we can have some positive energy in this post game, and the Bears, the fan base can get revitalized, because that's what's going to happen. We get this win, the juice is coming back, and so people going to start feeling good again. So give these guys a chance, give these coaches a chance, give these players a chance to see if they can redeem themselves. All is not lost. And so before we get out of here, I'm going to leave you guys with this. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Peace, no maniacs. Boom.